So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Claudia Figueiredo Silva. I work for Zimpro. Zimpro is an American-based company that works for more than 50 years in the development and marketing of organic trace minerals. I'm responsible for research and technical support there. And today I was offered the opportunity to be here, thank you very much, to present one of the works that has been funded by AQUAEXCEL, and our appreciation and thanks for that as well. Looking at the metal amino acid complex as a cost-effective strategy to help reduce fish meal in European sea bass. So reduction of fish meal and why we need to do that is not a new topic, right? So you are probably fed up a little bit of hearing about this. The truth is that we, as an industry, we have been working on this topic for decades now, and we become pretty effective in making our fish a little bit more vegetarian in a very economic way. But less work has been done on what is needed, to be cost effective in doing this. We know that when we reduce fish meal, and that has already been mentioned here today by Ramon, we need to look up at possible limitations in terms of amino acids, fatty acids, vitamins like the group vitamin B, for instance, might become limiting, but also trace minerals. And less work has been done in this field. So that's one of the main reasons or justifications of this work is to look, okay, how can we adjust trace mineral or balance a low fish meal diet or a diet devoid of fish meal in terms of trace minerals, essential trace minerals, right? And this is extremely important and become more important in the last years due to European legislation, because on one hand we have this reduction on fish meal, we have low zinc, low selenium in our diets. On the other hand, we are not allowed to go as high as we would like with the supplementation of these minerals in order to meet animal requirements because of European legislation. For instance, for selenium, we cannot supplement with more than 0.2 ppm organic selenium, or more than 0.2 ppm in the diet. So the industry is struggling a little bit. How can we, in a cost-effective manner, to meet all of these needs? On one hand, the animal needs, so I need to balance the diets by supplementing with trace minerals. On the other hand, I need to respect EU legislation, not go above a certain level, right? So the solution is to look for a more bioavailable source, and the industry definitely understands this and is already shifting from the traditional strategy that was to supplement with inorganic trace minerals to more bioavailable trace minerals. This strategy allows us to, with less, by using less supplementation, and by doing this we can meet EU legislation better. We can meet in a reasonable way the animal needs, yeah? So what you see here are the results, and apologies if I didn't mention, this is a collaboration with the Hellenic Center of Marine Research in Greece. Apologies for missing that information. So very briefly, we look at the growth performance of sea bass, juveniles, and FCR definitely is one of the main parameters because, as was said in the talk before mine, it means a lot in terms of sustainability and cost, also for the farmers. So we are all looking for more efficient diets that result in low FCR. So that's what I'm showing here, and you see that when we reduce it, or we were able to reduce fish meal, 20% fish meal down to 10% fish meal in sea bass diets by adjusting the trace mineral premix. By using this source I'm talking about, this metal amino acid complex. What does it mean? Because within organic we have many different molecules, and it's important that we consider which molecule we are talking about. In this case, we have the zinc, for instance, complex with an amino acid in a 1-to-1 ratio, which makes this molecule very stable under different conditions and with a high bioavailability being absorbed through amino acid transporters rather than traditional trace mineral transporters, which explain its higher bioavailability. So you see that we managed to reduce the fish meal by 50%, right? And with this, of course, we were able to reduce the price of the feed, so the cost with feeding by more than 8%, which represents, I believe you will agree with me, a very important result. On the right side here in this table, you see the total levels in the diet. So we tried as much as possible to meet EU upper trace mineral limits that you can also see here on the right side of the table. For zinc, we met it, so we cannot go above 150 ppm total zinc level in sea bass diet. In salmon, we can go a little bit higher, 180. Then for copper, for manganese, for iron, for selenium is pretty tough, right? Because we met the requirement in terms of what's the maximum organic selenium we allow it to be supplemented. We cannot go above 0.2, that's what we did. But because you have already fish meal there, it's very tough to meet the 0.5 that legislation requires. But as I said, we found a strategy that is cost-effective in the reduction of fish meal, meeting the animal requirements at the same time we respect EU legislation. In terms of target market, well, this was done in a very specific production phase, but the results can be, and the strategy can be applied to different phases of production, being hatchery and broodstock, or at the later stages close to marketable size. But it will also be an important strategy for farmers, of course, if we can again reduce FCR and with that have an important impact in terms of excretion, nitrogen, phosphorus and carbon footprints that they will be contributing for sustainable of the industry. For feed millers and premix, as we can help them to reduce the cost and again be more sustainable with their solutions and integrators. So to finalize, of course, trace minerals have, or we might use this sort of strategy, like to use more bioavailable nutrients to target performance, health, meat quality, sustainability, as you know, trace minerals are essential, right? So they are important in many different functions that go well beyond performance. But the main message of this study was that by playing or using more bioavailable trace minerals, we can reduce dependency on fish meal. We can reduce nitrogen and phosphorus as well as trace mineral excretion into the environment while complying with EU legislation. So thank you very much.